So is your life actually over without gluten? I am here to promise you that being gluten-free does not mean being joy-free. Let's talk about that inside of this video. Whenever I work with my gluten-free coaching clients, almost all of our conversations start out with this. My life is over. I can't eat anything anymore. All food tastes like cardboard. If you've ever felt like that before, you're in the right place. And if you're still in that mindset, hang with me because we're going to flip that script. Your life is far from over. Things are about to get a whole lot better. And that's what you need to focus on, not what's been removed from your diet. Before we dive in, tell me in the comments below what's been the hardest part about going gluten-free for you. You now have a chance to get your life back on track. It is 100% normal to feel overwhelmed, lost, confused, and like your life is over when you first start on the gluten-free diet. You know, you walk out of the doctor's office with a list of items you can't eat anymore, and you're told, change your diet. I'm sure that appointment was quick. They didn't give you a ton of guidance, and it just left you feeling completely overwhelmed. That's normal. Here's the thing about the gluten-free diet. Most people these days don't just go on the gluten-free diet because it's a trendy weight loss diet. Sure, that was 15 to 20 years ago, but we're not here to talk about that version of the gluten-free diet today. The reason most people are on a gluten-free diet these days is because they have an autoimmune disorder, they're gluten sensitive, they have celiac disease, and the doctors just want to give it a shot to see if taking gluten out of your diet will make things better. Gluten is one of the 5 main inflammatory foods, which means when you eat gluten, and if you are gluten sensitive or you have an autoimmune disorder, it can make your body swell up and not function properly. That can be seen in so many forms, whether it's a rash or bloating or stomach issues. All of these different kinds of symptoms that come from gluten could be sucking out part of your life. So while you may be sitting here saying, oh my gosh, my life is over, the truth is your life is about to just begin again. As you get going on the gluten-free diet and as your body starts to heal, you're going to have a lot different mindset around the gluten-free diet. In the last video, I shared about my son's gluten-free story. I have not shared my entire gluten-free story though, and I want to share a little piece of that with you right now. While I was diagnosed with celiac disease in November of 2022, I'm going to jump back to February of 2020. At the time, my anxiety was at an all-time high. I had been medicated for about 4 years, but for some reason, the medication wasn't keeping things under control as it normally did. I didn't know enough about food at the time because I hadn't gone back to school and gotten all my certifications yet. But I did start to see that the more we put into my son's body that was gluten-free and following his dietary needs, the happier he was, the more energy he had, and the better he was sleeping at night. So on a whim, I got curious. I was in daily panic attack mode, and it was time for a change. I was desperate, and I went to Google, and I said, what foods help with anxiety? The number one suggestion in Google was to take gluten out of your diet. So I did, out of curiosity. At the time, I was eating gluten 3 meals a day. I was eating egg sandwiches for breakfast, some kind of pasta for lunch, and then obviously dinner wasn't even thinking twice about it. We were eating what we were eating. I started doing a little bit more research, and I took gluten out of my diet for 3 weeks. And while my anxiety didn't disappear completely, it started to feel a whole lot better. The timing of this is important because when I say this happened in mid-February 2020, we all know what happened in March of 2020. It's no secret. The timing when my anxiety should have really gone to an all-time high, things were starting to settle in and I was feeling much better about things. It wasn't until 2 years later that I was diagnosed with celiac disease and everything made even more sense. But here's the thing, taking gluten out of my diet helped bring my anxiety under control, which meant I was living a happier life. Was it hard? Absolutely. Were there temptations? Absolutely. Were there times I gave in and ate the gluten anyways because I didn't know that I had celiac disease? 1,000%. To be honest, I wouldn't have been diagnosed with celiac disease if I didn't do that. So when I tell you that taking gluten out of your diet at your doctor's recommendations is just the beginning of your health journey, I am being truthful. Joy is around the corner. Whether it's anxiety, whether it's bloating, whether it's stomach issues, whether it's your overall quality of life, arthritis pains, all of that is about to get a shift now that you're starting your gluten-free diet. And that's the mindset I want you to focus on. Give this video a like if you've ever been through the "my life is ruined because I can't eat gluten" mindset, or if you're in it right now. My biggest advice if you're feeling like your life is over because of the gluten-free diet is to focus on what you can eat versus what you can't eat. It's time to flip the script. Why does that make such a big difference? Well, here's the thing. The word can't is negative. So when we use language like "I can't eat that," we're putting a negative tone on our gluten-free diet. But when we focus on what we can eat, we're putting a positive tone on our gluten-free diet. So for example, you walk up to a buffet at a cookout in the summer and you say, "Man, I can eat all of this fruit. I can eat these veggies and I can eat that gluten-free dessert." Not, "Oh man, I can't eat that pasta salad." Just flipping the tone in my voice, you can see how that little bit of detail can make such a big difference. Because you're telling your brain to focus on the positives, not the negatives. And the positives are going to keep you moving in a positive mindset about your gluten-free diet. I know, it's easier said than done. But when you focus on what you can add into your gluten-free diet, not what you are taking out of your diet, you are going to feel a whole lot more confident with your gluten-free diet. It is absolutely a process. Your mindset over the gluten-free diet is not going to change overnight, and no one's here to say that it will. But when you do these little things like flipping the script a little bit each day, you're going to start noticing the positive effects on your mind when it comes to the gluten-free diet. Also, while you're starting to notice your mind clearing up around the gluten-free diet, you'll likely start to notice your body clearing up. So not only is your mind getting healthier, your body is getting healthier, which is just creating this whole new lifestyle that you're just getting back. If you're looking for a quick way to get started on the gluten-free diet, or you need a quick reset, join me for 5 days to gluten-free, where we're going to talk about everything you need to know on the gluten-free diet, including what the doctors forgot to tell you when they handed you that piece of paper in the office. The link is down in the description below so you can sign up and join me. As you're focusing on your mindset and getting started with your gluten-free diet, celebrate every single win. I mean, every single win. Cooked a new recipe? Celebrate it. Found a new gluten-free food that doesn't taste horrible? Yes, best day ever. Having more energy to live your life, keeping up with your kids or your family and your friends? Heck yeah, we love the gluten-free diet. The more you put a positive spin on your day-to-day life around the gluten-free diet, the more you're going to find your brain automatically thinking positively and not negatively when you're put in a situation where things are a little bit iffy. Give it a shot and let your little mindset shifts grow day over day. I would love for you to come back and tell me in the comments what shifts you're making and how much they're impacting your gluten-free diet. Just remember, those small wins are going to add up to big results. Stay tuned for the next video where we're going to talk about eating out at restaurants with confidence and how your mindset plays a big piece in having a successfully gluten-free meal with friends and family at your favorite restaurant.